Hello, Gabriela, welcome.
Welcome.
So this is Thursday, and we are talking about different topics every Thursday that somehow can help people to understand different subjects, right? Or at least that's our intention. And today we're going to talk about GAB's non-profit organization that she runs here in Ixtapa, Cihuatanejo. And so I'm going to ask her some questions. Let's see what she has to say about it. So, how you doing?
Good, and you?
Good.
Where's
Can you
everybody?
just sit a little bit, because I feel like I'm trapped here a little bit.
Oh,
You're kind of in the middle.
Okay.
Thanks. Gabs, so what's the name of your organization?
It's called Eco-Vegana.
Eco-Vegana. What does that mean?
Which means like eco-vegan.
Eco-Vegan. So what do you do? I mean, what's the purpose? What's the mission?
What's the mission? Well, our mission is to innovate the cuisine, especially Mexican cuisine, to transform it with innovative recipes that are based on local foods and that are easy access for everybody in the way that is like easy on your pocket,
Like cheap, accessible.
not cheap or very accessible, because cheap sounds
I know
sounds
what you
like
mean. I know what you mean.
not
Like
good
not
quality.
Yeah,
Exactly. So we focus on that, and also we focus on people building their own gardens, and also we focus on people getting to establish that relationship with their um, farmers, with the farmers that are here locally producing a lot of things, and sometimes they don't have clients because we go to the supermarket and it's full of great foods, but they come from somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that's the idea behind it.
Especially here, because we only have like 2 supermarkets, right?
Yeah.
And there is a lot of, well, we'll talk about the tianguis as well, the market, and we talk about the people running it and helping the market grow every Saturday. But let's start with your organization, like focus on it. How many people work there?
Right now, like 10.
10?
On the because this organization is not a super big, but it's the setup or the organigramma, I don't know how you say it. Like the ones who founded is my sister and I, and then we got a lot of people that is kind of their volunteers. So they're volunteers. Every workshop we do, they are their volunteer, but also we hire people to work there. And we have this little house in center of Cihuatanejo Centro that we hire there, and in order to have a space to do the workshops, and also in order to build a little garden, and also we have a tiny little coffee shop, or what we call economic kitchen in the sense
So
like it's economic but also it's eco-friendly.
Yeah. So, but you do workshops. You do. You have a restaurant. Well, kind of a coffee.
But it's a very tiny little space. We do nowadays. We are doing a lot of because the sun here is crazy. The heat of the
You're
sun
dehydrating
here is
stuff,
just
right?
like, so we are dehydrating a lot of things from that grows here, and they dehydrate like this, like mangoes, for instance, and a lot of kale and kale chips with the sun. And so we do all of those things. Well, I don't actually physically do it because I'm here all the time, but they do it at La Casita.
So, but when you say eco-vegan, what does that mean? Because I think that you guys probably run on solar panels.
No, we don't.
You don't.
No.
Is that the idea, or
Nowadays, there's a little controversy about the panels and all of that. No, I haven't invested in solar panels in La Casita, but what we do is all the production and all of the things they produce there, all the foods, all the recipes, and all of the products there, like the kombucha and a lot of things to go, they're being produced in La Casita. Most of those foods are local foods, so therefore their footprint is tiny compared to other foods that they might come from
is
another
everything
place.
You sell organic?
No, not everything we sell is organic. Like we're 80%, and some of the stuff sometimes we need to bring them from Mexico City.
Yes.
Like corn. Like for Mexicans, corn is a very, very, very important food, because I know it has a very bad fame because of the GMO corn and all of those things, and there's a lot of GMO corn that we feed to animals worldwide. But as a Mexican culture, if you go back before the Spanish, there was a god about corn and all of this beautiful culture from the pre-Hispanic culture in Mesoamerica.
The Aztecs?
Aztecs, but all Mesoamerica, like all of the Incas and Mayas. All of those, yes, they praise corn. And among other foods, like Mexico, for instance, corn, cocoa beans, tomato, avocado, pumpkin, that's beans and all of things that come from this land which we used to call Mesoamerica. And so all these foods were sacred to them, and they produce them, and so it is part of our culture. And there's a movement here in Mexico that says, without corn we have no country, which in Spanish says, sin maíz no hay país. And we're talking about the real authentic corn that it grows naturally and is beautiful, it's not GMO. And that's how there's a full process about how you're gonna prepare tortillas, for instance, and all of these foods. They're super delicious.
And it's you can find corn here?
Sometimes seasonally we'll find organic, like fresh produced corn, but sometimes we don't. So and I think it's like important to buy for producers in Mexico. So we get them from a producer in Mexico that is in Morelos, and he sends us his organic corn.
I remember I went to the next state, Michoacan, last year, and I went to this lake, and around the lake, these little houses from women just selling tacos, and the backyards are just full of corn, and they just get it from there, grow it there, and it's just like
that's where in the past, like before Spanish came in, they call it, well, nowadays still call the same milpa, which milpa means corn, and then you put your garden and you put corn and chiles and pumpkin and beans, what they call the old indigenous culture, they call the three sisters, which were planted in the same manner, like pumpkin, beans, and corn, the three of them. So, but then you can add herbs and all of those things. So that's what at the moment we are focusing on those things. And if you ever come to Zihuatanejo, you need to try, because those girls that work at La Casita, they're such a great cooks.
Yes.
And they can make
I go more often than you.
You go more often than
and you go to my restaurant in Iztapa more often than I do. But anyway, it's great, delicious food, and very Mexican, like versions of, the vegan versions of Mexican dishes.
Yeah, it's not fancy,
No,
but
it's great.
It's great. Yes, great.
You're missing some important part of your organization because you have cats.
Oh, those kitty cats.
It's a rescue.
Yeah, those kitty cats, they start to game. You know, cats choose you. You don't pick them. They choose. So they started to come in, and then here we try to also sensibilize people with our animals, and make sure people are good pet owners and they spay and neuter their pets. But unfortunately, not everybody follows that advice. So here with this weather, it's just kind of more tropical. So
Yeah.
we have more kitty cats. They're feral. There are more dogs. So at La Casita, we already have like 15 kitty cats that we rescue, and they live there. They don't get inside the casita because we do foods, but they're outside in the garden, and they also have like a cat.
Catio.
Like a catio, like a little place where they can be safe, and we lock them at night because then we don't allow them to go crazy at night because sometimes things happen and it can be dangerous for them. So yes, that's exactly what we do.
The catios, apparently, I mean, you have to really, really, really like close off everything because some cats don't respect that.
Yeah.
If you are in Cihuatanejo and you're listening to this podcast, I recently, my beloved Totora cat that's been with me and my girlfriend for years left, and we've been really suffering for the last 10 days, and being here in the studio is a little bit of a therapy.
10 days?
Yeah, it's been 10 days. Well, almost, yeah. 10 days today. And we have a catio, and there's no way. I mean, we cannot, till today, we cannot find the way she jumped to the roof, because she was doing that for the last week before she left. But anyway, she's called Totora, and you can check Facebook Totora Ixtapa, and you can check it out and help us out.
You can send good vibes so
Yeah,
that Totora find her way home.
We're very sad, but
we're very sad too. I know Totora also.
So yeah, it's been pretty hard, but it's a gift in a way.
Whether it's a gift, it's an experience.
The experience is a gift, and we need to take advantage of this pain to open our hearts and go through it. But anyway, to continue with this interview, how are you guys as an organization are coping with COVID-19, with all this situation we are going through?
Well, at the moment, all the workshops are online, are through our Facebook page. My sister is in Mexico City, so she's doing the workshops. We tell her, now we have at the tianguis, or the local producers are coming up with a lot of watermelons or a lot of mangoes and a lot of kale and a lot of things. So she come up with recipes. And also the girls at Casita, they would come up with recipes, but my sister, she is the one who just kind of adjust everything and make sure everything is very clear for people to understand all the instructions and all the process and how to prepare all these things. So she's doing that at home, but also all the service in La Casita is to take out. So you can send them a WhatsApp or ring them and I said, hey, I want tacos, and then they put them ready to go. We take out. We used a lot of banana tree leaves to wrap everything with strictly zero plastic or aluminum or any other form.
So people, you have compostable containers, right?
Yes,
you ask people to take their own containers.
Yes, we have compostable containers to go, but I don't particularly think those are such a great idea in the sense like they do have a footprint, and they can contaminate if they're with the other garbage. So don't ask me scientifically about that, but so what we try to definitely is to ask people to bring their own containers, or else we're gonna wrap them in some leaves and also some paper bags.
Okay. Is it feeling like a big difference because there's not people in the streets or in Zihuatanejo? I mean, you feel like people stop. I mean, obviously, you cannot actually give service like to people, offer service like to as a restaurant. But do you feel it's affecting the organization?
I don't think it's affecting the organization. I think, as a matter of fact, we took the advantage to promote more of these foods and more of these recipes so that people prepare them at home, because it's all of these foods, they have a nutritional value, and they have micronutrients that would protect you from any virus or any, that they're not gonna cure you, or more likely they will
and strengthen your
immune system, which is what people need, like desperately. In Mexico, we have a rate, unfortunately, not worldwide, of the trio of the worst diseases, which is obesity, heart disease, and diabetes. So it's
we are number one in the three of them, right?
Yeah, we're number one in the three of them. Unfortunately, all this virus is hitting hard on Mexico. So because young people have diabetes and have problems with the kidneys and all of these things. So it is important for us to just share all of this information and help people with tips or whatever we can to change their habits a little bit, slowly but surely, and they will prevent a lot of things.
Absolutely. Okay, is it possible for everyone to have an organic garden?
I think it's absolutely possible.
Yeah? How would you... I mean, people, like a lot of people live in very, very confined spaces with no place to go out, to share like a little piece of land in small apartments. How do you do that? Can you tell people?
I don't have all the answers, but I can only imagine that there will be places that will be very hard. Maybe, I don't know, Norway, like an island up in the north.
Well, but Norway, the government would give them money.
So that's not a problem.
That's not a problem.
But let's say like here in Mexico, you have a lot of like buildings with a lot of tiny different apartments, and I think we can organize to have like a community gardens. Like if you won't have if you don't have the space in your house, you will be amazed how in a small fraction of a land, you will be amazed that everything can grow a lot. And then you will be able to maybe share it, or maybe exchange it for other, like if you have a lot of, I don't know, onions, Pablito might have a lot of like tomatoes, so you can exchange.
Yeah, in fact today I do have at home like a small organic garden, and yesterday the guy Chucho went to help, and he got like tons of oregano, basil, pipisa, I don't know.
Pipisa, I don't know. That's the Mexican. I don't know, anyway, only the Mexican
but
name,
there's
which
so
is
much,
pipis.
like so much, and I call Vicky La Casita, and today we took it. So you have
fantastic.
So something in exchange, maybe breakfast. What exactly do I need if I want to start an organic garden in a little space?
Well, you need seeds. Depends how much. My advice is start with the easiest thing. For instance, here in Zihuatanejo, something that is very, very easy to grow is hibiscus. And hibiscus, generally in Mexico, we use hibiscus to make flavored water, Jamaica. But honestly, this flower can make incredible dishes. And the nutritional value is incredible.
To lower your
blood
pressure, right?
Blood pressure in a lot of crazy things. It is a collagen promoter and all of that. So we advise people to start growing that, because then they won't be so frustrated if things doesn't work. Nowadays, you have the internet and you can go and maybe pick a course. It's not difficult. Now I'm saying this.
Do you have your own?
I have my own garden, but I'm gonna confess something. Okay, there's a producer that goes to the Eco Tianguis that takes his plants already. The plants are already
Chucho?
Chucho, or Paco or Nick. They have already plants that are ready to, like kale, and they're ready to go. So my garden is full of those, and so I haven't actually planted any.
Oh, okay.
But I'm a precursor of a lot of other people doing it. And one day, well, I have the time to invest in the garden, you know?
Okay. So, because I was gonna ask you, what have you planted? But you haven't planted it. But what do you have? Kale?
I have pumpkin, I have kale, I have spinach, I have sweet charts, I have basil, mint, peppermint, oregano, lemongrass, ginger, peppers, little chile, like tiny little things. They're like bolitas, how do you say? Chile de bolita.
And habanero you have?
No, I don't have habanero.
I do have like a massive amount of habaneros out there. Anyway, so thank you very much for all the information. What else do you want to add to the...
I would like to add also, like, insist on the garden, because it's a beautiful thing to do. And I think also bring us back to the land, bring us back to reconnect with our food, reconnect with, if you're gonna cook something from your garden, believe me, it's gonna taste
delicious.
Incredibly different and incredibly, you'll be so thankful. So there is this woman that she's an activist. Her name is Vandana Shiva. And she said that nowadays the most revolutionary act you can ever do for this world, to make this world a better place, is to have a garden. So she's incredible. I recommend you look for her. She's Vandana Shiva, because she's an activist that brings solutions to the table.
Yeah.
And sometimes
not just complaining there.
Well, some activists, their function is to tell the truth, and sometimes the truth is like.
Can you recommend a couple of activists apart from her for our listeners?
Yes, there's a couple of podcasts that you can listen to. There's this. I'm very bad with names at the moment.
So tell me, I might help. I might be able to.
I promise. No, yeah, of course, but that's ethical animal rights.
Yeah.
So we're talking about foods you can grow.
Okay, I was talking about everything.
That's because we're vegan, eco-vegan. We're vegans and we care for animals, and we ethically believe that we at least I don't need to eat them. There's a lot of people that think like me and they don't know how to do this.
Yes.
So, but the way we started is always with. Sometimes we're not agree. Everybody's not agree on that particularly point. So we started with something that we can all agree. So we can all agree that all factory farms are terrible for the animals, terrible for the people who works on those places, and it's terrible for the environment. So we can all agree on that. So, and also we can all agree in that organic local foods that you can grow, they're good. You know, so let's start with solutions first.
Yes. And can you just throw some names, animal ethical activists? Because I think it's related. Like you're gonna talk about Ed.
Yeah, Ed Earthling, I think is incredible activist. His activism is really efficient, and it's all most of it is directed to the ethical thing, and also he brings a lot of logical reasoning, and it's very good. If you are into that, I would highly recommend to listen to it.
A lot of people.
There's another woman. What's
her name?
She has she's a psychologist from Harvard, and her name is Melanie Joy.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Melanie Joy, and she's incredible. Also, activist for the animals, but also she has all this part of how are we gonna relate to each other.
That's a question I was going to ask.
With your family, like if you decide, let's say someone else is listening to this and I wanna try vegan or plant-based for whatever, but probably the social pressure sometimes can be too much. So her specialty is to bring all these great books that talks about how we live in a world that also is idealistic about the status quo of what we eat currently. So I recommend
that's a very common question, right? I always get that how do you do it with socially. Of course, after 11 years of being vegan,
we veganized everybody around.
Exactly. I know very few people like within my close circle that is not vegan, and if they are not, it doesn't matter. I never get bothered by them. The only kind of people that at some point was difficult to relate with was my family. They were the ones pushing and asking. And in a way, kind of.
But that was a long time
ago. Yeah, absolutely.
And they have changed a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see them that often, but that's the question. No, but I'm saying that because it's normal. It's common. That the ones that actually push you are your closest ones. And that's a question I get. Like, how do you do it with your family and that? As I said, nowadays I don't have any problems, but I think activists like Ed Earthling, he has a lot of talks about that, and Melanie.
I think more Melanie than Ed. Ed would just bring the questions of how would you justify morally the act of killing an animal and eat it. Yeah. So that's the main question, but we can do another talk about the subject if you want to.
Yes, absolutely.
Or of course, if you want to.
Yes, let us know what kind of topic you want us to talk about. And as long as we think we know something, because we lived experience or whatever, we can actually talk about it. Otherwise, we need to study, which is good as well. We can talk about things that we can actually learn.
Yeah, or maybe talking. But I think what is important is just to share what we live and how it works for us.
Exactly. So thank you very much for tuning in.
All the best, and I hope you have a great rest of the week. And take care. Eat plenty of veggies.
Tomorrow Friday we have a great track that we're posting from the 11/11 album, which was coincidentally like an 11/11 week, right? Because last week was 9 That Alive week, no planned, and this time it was an 11 because we posted on Monday. What did we post on Monday?
Logos.
No, Logos was yesterday, Wednesday.
Santo Domingo. Gracias, Pablo.
On Friday we have a awesome track. It took us a little bit of a time to do it, you have to remember it's one of the favorite tracks that we haven't played live for years, but definitely probably is going to come back to the set list when we are able to go back on the road. And Saturday we have an awesome cover too, a very unexpected cover. So don't miss that. Take it easy. Ciao, ciao. Good Thursday. Bye.